There are many times where I've really wanted to do something with my children and I just didn't have the time to do it. And then somebody came up and said, you know, why don't you let us do this? And it's like, that'd probably be a good time to spend time with my eldest son, just to sit and talk with him for a bit, okay? So remember to do that. Get yourself a break. Qualified mentor homes must have support from the church. If the church will not help support the home, then you may be spinning your wheels. It'll take more than your home to harvest the people. You won't be able to keep it. You won't be able to maintain it. You won't be able to mentor everybody. The pastor must be on board with this process or the addicts are not going to feel comfortable in the church. They will leave. You've got to have them where the pastor is on board with what you're doing. He has to preach to them too. Okay? Very important. Otherwise, your chance for success will drop drastically. Who are you looking for and how do we get them? As a mentor, we have pastors, we have counselors, we have people that go into the jails, we have people that are very good at what they do. These particular people are out there. They're already doing ministry. When we find the ones that are addicts, then we sit with them and we talk with them and we find out if indeed they are ready to actually come into a program or come into a home. Please don't go out there and just grab anybody, okay? Because that may kick you. It may kick you hard to where you're sour on mentoring for the rest of your life, okay? You don't want to do that. People have tried to do that. Make sure to get somebody that pretty much is a little savvy on this. Can look at an addict or sit with an addict for a little while and go, you know what? You're probably not ready. You might want to wait a little bit, okay? These addicts can be found everywhere. And believe it or not, you don't have to go to them. If you're a Christian, they'll come to you. They will come to you. In fact, at this particular point, on the average day, I miss between 45 and 50 calls on my phone. Those are the ones I miss. Okay? So they'll come to you if you're that person. Or I'll just give you my phone. Ones that are broken and submissive. The addict must be willing to submit to certain rules. If they're not willing to submit to your rules, you don't want them in your house. They have to be willing to submit to you. No telephone privileges, no visitors, no going out, and work with the people that you're staying with. This would also include chores around the house. To gain any privileges in the home, they have to do their chores. They have to do everything that they're supposed to do. They have to learn what that discipline is. Remember, we're here to minister Jesus and to help this person. Be careful that we don't get so close to the person that you can't help them. Sometimes you can be so close to the forest that you cannot see the trees. Okay? You've been hornswoggled. You're in the midst of the forest and you're going, where's the trees? And they're right there. Be careful because one of those limbs are going to slap you right in the head. Okay? Get with the addict. The next step is you get with the addict. You start conversing. You take the pastor, the counselor, the teacher, whoever with you, and you converse with the addict and you find out whether or not this addict is really ready or not. The mentor can ask any questions that they want to this addict. So you just talk to them. You say, hey, how are you doing? You can ask the mentor whatever questions you want in front of somebody else. And that way they know that whether or not you're getting the real answers. If you go with me and you're talking to an addict or something, I'm going to be there with you, and you're going to say, well, tell me, do you think you're ready for this program? And listen to their response. If I'm there, I'm going to look at you, I'm going to look at him, and then I'm going to ask you, as the mentor, some questions. What do you think? You think they're ready for this? And by what they said, do you think that they're not ready? If I'm talking to Wanda, I'll say, Wanda, we got 2 of them that are graduating. Which one do you want? Wanda will say, well, you know, I kind of like this one. And I'll go, Wanda, what do you think about that one? Do you think they're really ready to go, well, you know, man, I don't know. But we have to kind of bat it back and forth a little bit. Because otherwise, I may be placing somebody in a home. If you're in our ministry, I won't place anybody in your home if I don't think the temperament is going to work. Okay? I know Wanda well enough to know who not to put in her house. Okay? And I know Brenda well enough to know who not should go over to her house. Okay? So it's very important to kind of bat it back and forth, find out, ask whatever questions you want in the beginning. Don't wait until they're in your home and go, I didn't know that. Okay? Now, we have all kinds of stuff. to help us. Okay? Some of the things we have, and I talked a little bit earlier, is a graph. These graphs that we have just look like that. They're really simple. Everybody in here should fill one out. I don't have a bunch of copies of the graphs, okay? I just have them for examples. But every one of you should fill one of these out because it'll work. Because out of the month, you're going to find 2 to 3 days out of the month, consecutive days, you really don't feel like you did last week. And you're going to feel better next week. But to an addict, we need to track them, okay? And so once you start doing this, you'll be able to look at this and it qualifies you more and more when you're able to look at their life and look at something like this and say, I can see that something's coming, I know when it's going to hit, and I know what to do to bring you out of it. Okay? You automatically know when it's coming, and you know what to do to bring them out. Now, guess what? Not only do you feel safer, but so does the mentoree in your home, because they know it's only, they looked at theirs from last month, and they went, I came out of it here. Whoa, the month before, I came out of it here. And sometimes it's like this in the beginning, all over the place. But eventually, you can find it. And after a while, the addict goes, man, I don't have to be like that. 2 or 3 days like this, I'm going to be over it anyway. We're going to come right out of it. Okay, then you're going, phew, they figured it out. Okay, in the very beginning, we have service assessment forms that they can fill out. We have enrollment information. On the enrollment information, there is a lot here that they do when they come into the rehab. We have all the demographics. We have the family background. We know who their parents are. We know whether or not their parents used. We know whether or not they were beat. We know whether or not they were raped or molested. They know the marital background, theirs and their parents. We know the birth order that they're in, their education, their occupation. We go through personal information on here, lots of personal stuff. Do you still have problems with bereavement, depression, hatred, anxiety, nervousness, fear, self-doubt, guilt, suicide, loneliness, religious doubts, marital problems, blah, 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 blah. We're going to find out about that. I want to know what's really bugging them. I want to know, are you just really super, super sensitive people? Okay. Over here, we have them, we go through conditions as far as all the way from appetite changes to drug use to phobias or whatever, past and how you are present. In that way I can tell what they have been through in their life and how many fears. This is all done in the intensive rehab. But if you get them out of the intensive rehab, you have access to all of these if you need it, because they sign a form that says that we can converse with you, if you're the mentor, through this whole process. Then we get a bunch of more background information on them, and we find out even some things, spiritual things. Have you ever been involved in astral projection, occult, witchcraft, ESP, handwriting analysis, exorcism, psychic reading, palm reading? Have you ever been through any of these things? And do you believe in them? And if you do, tell us a little bit of story about them. Talk to us a little bit about it. Then all of a sudden you've just opened up a can of worms for them to say, well, you know what, I really believe in astrology. In fact, every day when I was about between the ages of 9 and 16, I actually believed in it. And every day it happened because I believed in it. And you're going, okay, gives me a place to work from, doesn't it? Now I know what I'm dealing with. Tells you a lot. Okay? There's a lot of spiritual stuff that has happened to these people. A lot. And I don't know where you are with all of it, but you may need some counseling on yourself. I don't know, but okay? Now, after that, we just continue on to find out, do you feel guilty for the things that you've done? Do you feel awfully bad? Do you feel like you've ruined your family? Blah, 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 blah. And then there's some graduation requirements that they have to do to be able to graduate. They have to do Proverbs study every morning. They have to do their topical studies. They have to do a bunch of stuff and prove that they're doing it before we ever graduate them in their 120th day. Now, we also have case management, where you just sit down with them every now and then. You find out how you're doing, where you're going. And have you changed at all? Has your mindset changed? Last month, you want to get back with your boyfriend. This month, you're ready to bag your boyfriend. Why is that? Well, because he's a user. Very good. Little cognitive therapy here. You're figuring this out. Okay? That's excellent. Case management, this one piece of paper gives you all the advantage to sit with them and be able to figure this stuff out so you don't have to find a different platform for them. This one's an interesting one that Wanda and I do in the jail, because it tells us, are you pregnant? Have you ever had any abortions? And then, how many guys have you slept with in your life? A lot more than that, but very personal things. We have a biopsychosocial evaluation that we do, because I want to know on a DSM 1, 2, 3, 4 or whatever, where have you been evaluated before? How are you dealing with up here? Okay, are you all together up here? I don't have to do this with everybody, but I do with some. because they really need it. Okay, and then we have a release plan, and in this release plan, we've just recently did some different things here on what have you got out of this program: marital counseling, individual counseling, group counseling, separation and divorce counseling, premarital counseling, drug and alcohol counseling, life skills, parenting class, anger resolve, etiquette class, transportation. What have you got and what have we been able to help you with? And at the very end, we go through and they figure out what they still need. And then at the end of the graduation, when they graduate the mentor program, you present this to people and say, can you still help us with these particular people? They still need transportation. Can you get them here and here? Well, yeah, I can help with that. And Patty, can you do this? Or Brenda, can you do this? And they say, well, yeah, we can help them do that.